quiet with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Happy Saturday, American Patriots. Welcome to this special breaking news edition of the show. Excuse the way I look. I've been out on the boat all day with my son. We took the boat across Lake Pontchartrain and went and ate lunch over in New Orleans and got back just in time to find out that, exactly what I've been telling you was going to happen for the past week, and that is that the U.S. Air Force and our U.S. Navy have successfully struck into Iran with our bomber aircraft, as well as naval assets, I would imagine cruise missiles and things of that nature. This just came from Donald Trump about 20 minutes ago now. He posted this on Truth Social. We have completed our very successful attack on 3 nuclear sites in Iran. All planes are now outside of Iran airspace. A full payload of bombs was dropped on the primary site, which was Fordo. All planes are safely on their way home. Congratulations to our great American warriors. There is not another military in the world that could have done this. Now is the time for peace. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Donald J. Trump, President of the United States. I have been saying this had to be done for a long, long time, going all the way back to 1979, the fall of when Iran took hostages, American hostages, and kept them for over a year. And it took Ronald Reagan coming into office to scare the shit out of them by saying that either they get released or we're bombing the hell out of you. And they got released right before he was sworn in. Since then, after that fall, Iran became this radical country that supported terrorism across the globe. And through the years, it's gotten worse. We have watched, and president after president has done nothing about it until now. We have watched Iran support Hamas with weapons, Hezbollah with weapons, ISIS with weapons, Al-Qaeda, all of the Middle Eastern terrorist organizations. And we know for a fact, as I reported last week, that at least 600 U.S. military personnel were killed by weapons supplied by Iran during the Iraq Second War, Gulf War, Operation Iraqi Freedom, and in Afghanistan, where Iran was supplying weapons to kill American forces by these terrorist groups. We've watched them strike many different locations throughout everybody but America, pretty much, with the exception of what we saw happen on 9/11 here. That was connected with Saudi Arabia and Osama bin Laden, who was not directly related or connected with Iran per se that we know of. But everything else that you've heard about in the Middle East, Iran has got their fingerprint on it. So if that wasn't bad enough, then for the past several years, they have been openly pursuing a nuclear weapon. They have been getting uranium and enriching it to make it into a nuclear type military grade in order to put it on an ICBM and, quote, to wipe Israel off the face of the earth. And with all the chanting of death to America that they have been doing, where else do you think they were going to strike? You think they were just going to not bother with us? No. And sadly, there are so many people on the left and even liberal Democrats that have no clue about the dangers of allowing this country, Iran, to build a nuclear weapon. Now, back when Obama was president, he worked out a deal where they would supposedly not make a nuclear weapon. It didn't stop them from enriching uranium. They said it was going to be for peaceful purposes, to go build a nuclear power plant to make Iran fall under electricity through nuclear. A country that's got oil for freaking billions of years and was supplying oil all over the globe. And the Obama administration fell for that shit. And so did the Democrat leadership up in Washington, D.C. And they trusted that Iran would not build a nuclear weapon. And then what a lot of people don't realize is that there was this whole thing set up in that deal where we would have inspectors that could go in and verify that they weren't making a nuclear bomb with this. And they stopped allowing the inspectors in. So that deal that Obama made was not worth shit. I'm sorry, liberals and Democrats that said, oh, well, Trump came into office the first time and he did away with it. You know, look what it's got us. He did away with it because they weren't holding up to their deal. They are a terrorist organization hell-bent on killing Western civilization. That's out of their own mouth. So we have watched this regime get worse and worse and continue to press forward. They've already built ICBM capability, intercontinental ballistic missile capability, where they can strike all over Europe and Israel with no problem whatsoever. Now it's a matter of getting this nuclear warhead put together to put it on those ICBMs and wipe Israel off the face of the earth, which then would do what? Well, that would get NATO involved, and what do you think would happen next? China and Russia support Iran. So if Iran was to build a nuclear weapon, as they were doing, and go strike Israel, NATO then has to return the favor and turn Iran into a glass parking lot. Boom, there goes World War III. China and Russia then attacking NATO countries. So during Donald Trump's first term, he froze all assets that he could locate or that our intelligence agencies could locate, and it was billions of dollars. Froze it to where Iran could not get their hands on it because they kept supporting terrorism and kept trying to build this nuclear bomb. So in the first 4 years of the Trump administration, he kept Iran in a box, per se, with the exception of small arms and small IEDs and things like that to go to terrorist organizations to strike American forces. And then along comes Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. And they unfroze those assets. they gave Iran those billions of dollars back. And where did that money go? Directly into continuing to build a nuclear weapon and supporting weapons to terrorist organizations to strike anyone involved in Western civilization. So we reached a point of no return when the World Nuclear Commission says, and regardless of what Tulsi Gabbard said, okay, why Trump hasn't fired that bitch yet, I don't know, but I think she's out the door this coming week, all right? We know from the Nuclear Commission that Iran was literally days from having an actual nuclear warhead to put on ICBM. And within 6 months would have approximately 25 nuclear warheads. And then that would be it, folks. Civilization as we know it would be challenged in a way that would be, I can't even imagine. Allowing the number one supporter of terrorism on planet Earth to have a nuclear capability while they're chanting death to Israel and death to America. What do? You have to take the bully down. You have no choice if you want to continue to live. Sadly, the liberal Democrat leadership up in Washington, D.C., and the liberal nut jobs in America don't get it. You've seen all the stupid shit they're saying, such as, oh, well, what about Israel's nuclear weapons? Why is it okay for Israel to have nuclear weapons, but Iran can't have nuclear weapons? Well, they're too stupid to realize that Israel is not a nuclear country. They do not have nuclear capability for weapons. But yet, some idiot on probably MSNBC said they did, some expert, and boom, it's got out there spreading like wildfire. And I've seen it even in the comments of my show when people say that. Or sending me emails, what a hypocrite, Doug. America can have nuclear weapons and Israel can have nuclear weapons, but Iran can't. Yes, America has nuclear weapons. We're the very first country to have the atom bomb, followed by Russia. And then other countries started getting it, and it started spreading. Now we've got several countries with nuclear weapons. Thankfully, when Ronald Reagan came along, he was able to put that genie in a bottle that is simmering. And it's been simmering for a while. That doesn't mean that we're at the end of this. Oh, hell no. We're closer today, and I told you this. During the Biden-Harris 4 years, we were closer to full-out nuclear Armageddon than any time in our history. And the liberal Democrats up in Washington, D.C., and the liberals on the streets of America are clueless about the dangers involved here. Okay with the number one sponsor of terrorism on earth to have a nuclear weapon. I mean, that's just batshit crazy. And sadly, that's what we've got out there running the streets. Well, you see them. They're in LA right now attacking ICE and police officers and many other places across this country. Anywhere there's a Democrat-run city, look at it. That's where all this crazy chaos is happening in America. And then we've allowed in the past 4 years under Biden and Harris for these actors, bad actors, to come from the Middle East to our universities and start corrupting our college students and get together protests that turn violent on college campuses, chanting death to Israel and their supposedly support for Palestine, not realizing what's really happening there, and that who do you think Hamas is? They're Palestinians, for crying out loud. And then what do we have? Ali Omar and Rashida Tlaib going and joining in, members of Congress joining in with these college students. What happened under the past 4 years under Biden-Harris is going to go down in history is the worst 4 years as far as endangering America and the world that's ever taken place in our history. I promise you. And finally, we get Trump back. And we take back the Senate and we keep the House. And the liberal Democrats keep doubling down on stupid. And every policy that they ran on during that last election, and they lost in a major landslide on, they're still doubling down on right now. As if that didn't happen, as if it was a close race, as if they keep saying this stupid shit about how horrible Trump is and how horrible MAGA is and how horrible Trump supporters are, and we're all a bunch of racist bigots, and we want to see World War III and the end of the world, and we're destroying the democracy, that people are going to understand it and fall in line with them and their craziness. So just keep pushing that narrative out there, Democrats and liberals, because midterms are going to come around and you're going to realize that your party is done stick a fork in it. So there comes a point when you have to take action. I have told you, as somebody who has deployed 4 separate times into combat operations for the United States military, that war is the last damn thing I want to see anyone have to go experience. It should be the very last thing that is done. You try everything you possibly can before you send troops into harm's way. And you only send troops into harm's way when everything else failed, and either you take action or hundreds of thousands of Americans or other Westerners are going to die. And that's where we ended up with Israel finally going ahead and striking these bastards. And then, as I was telling you last week, as I was getting the reports coming from my friends up at the Pentagon and in the military, the guys and girls that I used to serve with that stayed in and made rank and are, up there in the high places, that it was coming. It's just a matter of time. Waiting until we have everything in place to do the right thing. And today, our U.S. military, the Air Force, and the Navy conducted airstrikes deep into Iran and took out what was remaining of their nuclear program. It's over with. They have no nuclear program. And Donald Trump has told them, come to the table. I want to do this peacefully. All you have to do is agree to eliminate your nuclear weapons program, and we will not attack you. And we will keep Israel from attacking you. And Iran said no. Even after Israel started the war and started attacking them and taking out all their command and control, their military leadership, their military bases, hell, Israel managed to shut down Iran's air capability to where they couldn't launch fighters or bombers. All they had left was missiles. Destroyed it all. put them in check. But there was one place that they couldn't get because it's so deep in the ground. And that was this Fordo nuclear facility. The only people on planet Earth that have a bomb capable of doing that, the MOB, is America. And although they have not said that's one of the weapons that was dropped today, I can just about guarantee you that was one of the weapons that was dropped today to eliminate them. Now, with Israel striking Iran and with America backing Israel and trying to get Iran to come to peaceful negotiations, we did get them back to the negotiation table yesterday. And for hours, we met. And at the end of the day, Iran refused to give up their nuclear weapons program. That's it. They did this to themselves. Now, personally, I would like to see our U.S. Air Force and our U.S. Navy continue to assist in eliminating every military asset that Iran has. Their naval forces, their ground forces, what's left of their air bases, what's left of their command and control centers, what's left of, hell, Israel's already killed all of their leadership. There is no more as far as military is concerned. And then once somebody takes over somebody else's spot, boom, they go take them out. So keep it up. I support 100% annihilating that freaking shithole that exists. I've been all over the Middle East. And let me tell you, with the exception of just a very few places, if given the opportunity, they will kill you because you're an American or if you're a Jew. And that is fact. Ask anyone that served in the military in a Middle Eastern country what their ideology is and their interpretation of the Quran. It is sick. It is twisted. And all they want to do is dominate and rule the world by eliminating everyone that does not believe in Sharia law and their interpretation of the Quran. That is a fact. Now, liberals and liberal Democrats will say, oh, that's bullshit, and use another conspiracy theory you're spreading. And well, guess what? Everything that I've said that you've called a conspiracy theory, I was 100% right on. Because I don't come on here and do this show to talk out the side of my ass. This show is based on my personal experience in the military, my personal experience in law enforcement, my personal experience in my education, and the contacts that I have in the United States military as well as law enforcement. So when I tell you something, you can take it to the bank that it's 100% accurate. And as those that subscribe to this show know that when the times do happen that I get something wrong or I get something slightly not exactly right, I'm the first person to come out and correct it and tell you about it. As opposed to many others out there that just don't. Especially mainstream news media outlets. How many times have you heard ABC or CBS or NBC or MSNBC or CNN, for God's sake, with all the fake news they spread? And then when it's proven it's fake, come back and retract their story and apologize? Never. We did what had to be done. It's not over with. Keep your thoughts and prayers on our U.S. military forces and the military forces of Israel. I do believe in due time, there will be some type of coalition that will be put together with NATO forces that will enter into Iran on the ground to make sure their military operation is over with. So before that day comes, our military air assets, naval and air force, and Israel's, and oh, by the way, there are other countries that are assisting in this. And I'm not going to go into that tonight. But yeah, come to find out, Trump did put together a few other countries. We need to finish the job. It reminds me so much of when I was in Operation Desert Shield, Desert Storm, and how we were so close to finishing Iraq. And then we allowed the news media to go unfiltered and go wherever they wanted to start filming what we were doing. And when they filmed the highway of death, which is when we told them anyone trying to escape out of the area over there in Kuwait and start heading back to Baghdad with military equipment, you are a target. And we bombed the shit out of them. And so when that film started hitting the news outlets, showing miles and miles and miles of destroyed vehicles and dead people, the public turned on George Bush. And the next thing you know, hey, we got Kuwait back, so let's just end this. No. I knew, and everybody else knew, everybody I served with knew, we're going to have to come back one day. We didn't take out that evil bastard, Saddam Hussein. Somebody will be boots back on the ground here again, dying in another generation. I never in my wildest imaginations thought that years later, I would go back there again to finish the job, which became Operation Iraqi Freedom. Then, of course, we have Afghanistan that happened, which is where I was originally scheduled to go. My unit was originally scheduled to go there, Operation Enduring Freedom, when we switched courses. But history will repeat itself. If you're going after evil, you must destroy evil. If you're going to put our military in harm's way, finish the job the first time. So the next generations to come don't have to go through the hell that we did. And that's how I feel right now when it comes to Iran. We need to finish this once and for all. And we have the capability, we have the assets to make damn sure that there is nothing left of their military in any way, shape, or form. And damn it, it's time that something be done to end it once and for all. So there is no way possible that they can continue to support terrorism organizations across this globe and chanting death to America and death to Israel, and we're wiping Israel off the face of the earth. Well, you're not doing that if we wipe you off the face of the earth first, are you? So somewhere, the Ayatollah is just shitting his pants right now because we left him alive. That's okay. He's an old, feeble man that's Satan, that has nothing now. He has no military, per se. Still a lot of equipment out there. Still some people that haven't been killed. But in the next 72 hours, if things go according to the way I'm being told they're going to go, it's over with. Whether or not they choose to take out that old, feeble man, I don't know. But it doesn't matter at this point. If they let him live, or they put a freaking SAM missile up his ass, it doesn't matter. He doesn't matter anymore. He's got nobody to listen to him. And thankfully, the Iranian people now are going to be free of Sharia law. And it's crazy how so many on the left and liberal Democrats don't realize how barbaric they are. All these terrorist organizations like Hamas that these college students are supporting and against Israel defending itself against these terrorist attacks. You go to those countries and come out as part of the LGBT community and you're dead. Women have to wear burqas and they can't show their face or their body, or they're beaten and stoned to death. They can't have driver's license. Girls can't go to school. Look what happened in Afghanistan when we pulled out of there and allowed these evil bastards to go in and take over, and they're right back where they started, back in their Sharia law again, where women and girls are treated as freaking dirt. That's all they are to them. And you can't get that through the freaking thick skulls of our young college students today. Or those idiots up in Washington, D.C. that are leaders of the Democrat Party. Nope. They're freaking clueless. And how? Why? I don't know. It's all there for everybody to see. How you can turn a blind eye and continue to turn a blind eye on evil, that makes you complicit. That makes you just as evil as they are. Like, how many times have you heard me say that everybody, all those Democrat leaders that were all for open borders and disbanding ICE, they're just as guilty as the cartel that killed Americans. That, we came up with this group called the Angel Families, which are family members whose their loved one was killed by an illegal alien. My God. And they support this shit. Even right now as I speak, the Democrat leadership supports that shit. They are against us taking down these bad elements of our society that have come across that border. As we see it, look at Gavin Newsom. Why have we not put that son of a bitch in jail yet? He's inciting violence against his own law enforcement officers, much less ICE. Same thing with Rashida Tlaib and Alihan Omar and AOC, Cory Booker. They're all inciting violence against Trump supporters. Anybody that talks about MAGA and our law enforcement. So it's time for the Department of Justice, the FBI, to do their damn job and get rid of their ass. That's making America great again. When you take out the evil portion of our society. and the Democrat leadership in Washington, D.C., who supported what Biden and Harris did for 4 years and thought it was okay, and that are rushing down to Venezuela for this poor, innocent family man who we deported, is just as evil as the gang members and gang organizations that he belonged to. The blood of American citizens that were killed at the hands of illegal aliens is on their hands too. So the normal Democrat out there is just trying to work for a living and put food on the table and take care of their family. Start paying attention to what the Democrat leadership is doing and saying. Pay attention to that. And I guarantee you, you'll realize that what they're doing and what they're saying does not align with your moral values and beliefs. And then unask that party, just like I did. I'm not saying you have to be a registered Republican, but at least become an independent and do away with your little card that says you're a registered Democrat. We must destroy that leadership in that party. And the best way of doing that is for the average American out there. It's just trying to do the same thing that people like me or you are doing, surviving and getting by and taking care of our families. We just want peace. We want people to leave us the hell alone. Think about that. They align with our ideology and they don't realize it because they're not listening to what the Democrat leadership in Washington, D.C. is saying and doing every single day. And yet people like me come on here and we share it with you and we show it to you and we prove it to you. We show you videos of what they're saying. And anybody that aligns with that, you're a sick, no good, horrible, subhuman bastard. Because that's what they are. And I know for a fact that the average human out there that's not into politics, that happens to be a registered Democrat, doesn't realize what's coming out of the Democrat leadership in America. The Democrat Party of yesterday, it's gone. It was hijacked by far left liberal ideology and it's been destroyed. So do yourself a favor and leave it once and for all. Just become an independent if you don't want to become a Republican. But if you actually paid attention to what the Republican Party is today, you'd realize that you actually align with our values and not what the Democrat leadership has become. Anyhow, we've done something tonight that needed to be done. Something that I've been calling for a long time. Now we need to finish it. It needs to be finished. See it all the way through. And then come home. As always, please say a prayer for our men and women serving in the United States military, our veterans, our law enforcement officers, our first responders, their families, our angel families, our blue and gold star families, and our country. May God bless the United States of America. May God bless each and every one of you. Unless something of major importance happens between now and next Tuesday, I will see you next Tuesday at 8 p.m. Central. You can watch the show live on YouTube, Rumble, X, formerly Twitter, as well as LinkedIn. Although I think tonight we didn't go live on LinkedIn because I was in a rush to get this done. Again, excuse the appearance. At least you can't smell me after being on the boat in 100-degree heat on the lake all day. So that's a good thing. Now I need to go take a shower. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, folks. Remember, there are still evil elements out there. We know it. Under the Biden-Harris administration, the FBI director, Christopher Wray, said that that's what keeps him up the most at night and worries him the most, is that there are sleeper cells all across America that were supported by Iran that are waiting to kill Americans. So don't ever, ever let your guard down. Good night, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and I'll see you next Tuesday.